Okay, 7.2 is called Inverse Functions and Relations. I'm going to skip the first page. I'm just going to move on to the second page. Okay, there's two parts on the worksheet. The first part is if you get a set of ordered pairs like this, they want you to find the inverse. All you're doing is switching the x's and the y. See what I'm doing here? I'm just switching them, and that's all you're doing on the first part of the assignment. This was x and this was y. Now this is x and this is y. So all I did was interchange the x's and the y's. One more of these in case I went too fast. Instead of 3, 1, you're going to write 1, 3. Instead of 7, -1, -1 and 7. Instead of 6, 8 and 6, 6 and 8. So I think you can handle the first part of 7.2. Okay, now comes the second part of 7.2. Steps in finding the inverse. All you do is interchange the x's and the y and solve the equation for y. So here we go. And we're also going to graph them both. So this is the original problem. And they want you to find the inverse. Just like the set of pairs, all we're going to do is in place of the y, make it an x. In place of the x, make it the y. Do you see how I interchange the x's and the y's? And then the last thing I'm going to do is to get y alone by subtracting 5 to both sides. These two boxed in are said to be inverses of each other. We're also going to graph them. So we're going to bring back y equals mx plus b back again. The number alone is where it crosses the y-axis. So this is the number alone, and it crosses the y-axis at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the slope, and there's an imaginary 1 right there. So I'm going to go up 1 and over 1, up 1 and over 1, and so on. And that's the line for the original. And this is the line, this is the point alone. So you're going to put your first dot at a -5. And there's a 1 over 1, so you're just going to go up 1 and over 1, up 1 and over 1. The aha moment is this. If I graph them truly, this is the original graph, and this is the inverse graph. What's really cool, this is the aha moment. This point right here is 0, 5. There must be a point on this graph that's 5, 0. Aha, do you see I interchanged the x's and the y? There's a point on this graph that's 6, 1. There must be one that's 1, 6 on this graph. All I did was interchange the x's and the y's. So I know that my equations are right. Let's do one more. And maybe we don't have to do the last one. This isn't going to have a y in front of it. So here's my original equation. And how do I find my inverse? All you're going to do is in place of the y, make it an x, and in place of the x, make it a y. In order to get y alone, all I'm going to do is add 1. This is the inverse equation, and that's the original. I'm going to put my first dot at a -1, and my slope is 1 over 1. I'm going to put my first dot at a +1, and I'm going to go up 1 and over 1. If I truly made the right graphs, I can check it. This point right here is 1, 0. There must be a point on the other graph that's 0, 1, and there is, so I know I graphed them right. You can turn it off right now, or if you want to do one more with me, you can. I'm going to cross this out because that's not going to be on there. Here's my original. How do you find the inverse? You interchange the x's and the y. So doesn't y really equal x minus 4? Put my first dot at 4 and go up 1 and over 1. Put my first dot at 4 and I went up 1 and over 1. Put my first dot at negative 4 and go up 1 and over 1. And they're parallel lines. So, okay, that's all the notes for 7.2.